Invisible Progress, live from Philadelphia, where every season comes with a brand new offensive coordinator. And every press conference comes with trust the process. This is Invisible Progress. Headset on, playbook number 5 since the glory days gone. Nick at the podium grinning real wide, talking about growth that nobody can find. Reporters asking, Coach, what do you see? He says the vibes are great internally. No touchdowns, no rhythm, no time en route, but apparently progress is breaking out. 3 and outs and bubble screens, same old movie, different themes. Every August, every spring, they sell us hope with everything. It's hidden deep in the all-22 mystery. No first downs, but the culture's elite. Another curl route short of the sticks complete. Invisible progress. Clap your hands, another new offense nobody understands. Trust the system, Nick keeps saying loud, while Philly boos rain down from the crowd. Sean Mannion, drawing plays in the dirt. Fans online already feeling the hurt. Same excuse, his package shiny and new. This takes time, yeah, we heard that too. Hurts drops back, pocket starts to cave. Nick says leadership is what we crave. Meanwhile, the middle of the field still glows like somebody boarded up the passing zones. Execution every single week. Coach speaks sounding mighty weak. New coordinator, same old tune. Training camp optimism ends by June. Invisible progress, nowhere found, but they swear it's happening around the town. Motion and tempo analytics too, still throwing war screens on 3rd and 22. Invisible progress, what a sight. Moral victories every Sunday night. Nick keeps clapping like it's all okay, while the offense gains 4 yards of play. Coach, what specifically looks improved? Well, the communication, the energy, the connectivity. Brother, it's week 9, and the receivers are running into each other. Short years, powered by excuses and fan-based tears. Invisible progress, ring the bell, another press conference nobody can sell. Presented proudly coast to coast by the It's a Rap Sports Network post-game roast. Ha! Nick Sirianni says the offense is closer than people think. Philadelphia says score more than 17 points first. It's a Rap Sports Network, where the progress may be invisible, but the sarcasm never is. Step right up! Step right up! Welcome to the greatest show in South Philly, where every screen pass is invisible progress, and every collapse is part of the process. Got a headset on, but who's calling plays? New OC every other May. Shane left, Kellen flew away. Now Sean Mannion's here to save the day. Culture, toughness, accountability. Meanwhile, fans yelling at the TV. Fourth quarter. you gotta trust the fundamentals. It's the sarcastic circus. Welcome to the show where the offense goes invisible, but the speeches always glow. Nick the ringmaster pointing at the sky, talking about progress while the fans ask why. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing another new offensive system. 11 wins in a first round, flame out, press conference jargon getting sprayed out, connection details, toughness, trust. Through the middle of the field, collected dust. AJ mad, fans all fighting, how we wheeling, Twitter igniting. Every loss got a fresh excuse, green Kool-Aid by the gallon juice. But the vibes are real light. Under the big top, watch the offense vanish. See the media spin. Observe accountability magically disappear. The bubble screen of doom, the QB draw on 3rd and long. The weekly, we have to be better speech. It's the sarcastic circus, step right in the tent. Every season starts amazing, then December gets bent. Nick the ringmaster smile never cracks, talking hidden progress while the league attacks. The Eagles fans screaming from the stands, can we see the progress now? Presented by the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Recent off-season coverage around Sirianni, and the Eagles has centered on another offensive transition. Under new OP, Sean Mannion, with Sirianni emphasizing trust, fundamentals, and building habits.
Let's make some noise. Come on.
All right, indeedy, Nick Foles. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Yes, welcome back to the circus here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, otherly known as, of course, The Final Word with MattyB. Here with you on our final broadcast night of the week. It's Thursday. We made it to the end of another week, even though, of course, I only broadcasted twice. But it is the final show of our broadcast week. And we're here with, again, a lot to talk about. And, you know, when you miss a few days, I guess it kind of builds up, and it's great to talk. And there's a lot of things to get into. And, yes, the invisible process. That is the topic of the night. What the hell is invisible process? Or what is it? Invisible. It's invisible process, right? Is that what he said? I don't even remember what the hell he said. It was the invisible process, right? Oh, progress. Sorry, the invisible progress. I don't even know what the hell it is. Invisible progress. So let me ask you this. If you do something and you can't see it, or it doesn't sort of translate, the hell is progress about that? So we're going to get into the invisible progress. Ooh, man. Makes me long for the carefree days of the fertilizer, honestly, as this clown continues. And you know what? This is not a Bash Nick Sirianni show. It's not, folks. I am not here to do that. Nick Sirianni is a clown, a straight-up clown. He's a disgrace, an embarrassment. And, of course, he's ours. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Nick's in a spot, right? He's in a spot with this team right now. 5 offensive coordinators in like 5 years. Something like that, right? What the hell else is he supposed to do? I mean, you know what the offensive coordinator's doing. We all know. He's stripping it down and rebuilding it. I mean, but, just go up there and say that. Sit there, day one of OTAs. What's going on? How's everybody adjusting? Well, they're adjusting. We'll get there. We're starting from scratch. What the hell else do you want them to do? So this is not a Bash Nick Sirianni show. Well, we'll have plenty of those in the future, but tonight's not that. Tonight's about bashing the Eagles. That's right. I'm going to say it. Bashing the friggin' Philadelphia Eagles, because this is a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. And what's even worse is, of course, the title of our show tonight, Invisible Homers. Unfortunately, they're not invisible. They're always out there. The talk and the damn near, fanatical way they just go about their life when it comes to this football team. I honestly don't understand how they function as human beings on the planet Earth. A lot is talked when it comes to bashing this team. And, of course, what are some of the favorite whipping boys? Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Nick Sirianni. Absolutely. A lot of defense is made for those individuals. A lot of people have to stand up constantly and defend those two individuals. And every time they defend these two individuals, they always throw out the one thing. What is it? The Super Bowl. Yeah, we won a Super Bowl. We appeared in another one. We won one back in 2017. Had nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. That's always the defense about what is wrong with this team and about going after the two most critical people on this team. That's the defense. But they never talk about, ever talk about the fact that this team, coming off of a Super Bowl appearance in 2022, flamed out. Coming off of a Super Bowl win in 2024, when you had your hands on a dynasty. Your hands were on a dynasty in 2025. And you came out. I don't even know what that team was last year. It was certainly not the 2024 Eagles. We don't spend any time talking about the flameouts. Super Bowl win, Super Bowl appearance, and then two collapses. But we just gloss over the collapses like they didn't really happen, but the Super Bowls did when it comes to the defense of Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. So finally, I think, well, we'll get into that. We'll get into what I think a little bit later on in the show. But that's definitely on the table tonight, as is the Philadelphia Phillies, man. 3-game sweep over the hands of the Padres. Very impressive. The starting pitching continues to wow and amaze. And a special standing ovation for Chris Sanchez. Set that record, that Phillies record, broke that Phillies record and set a new one. No scoreless runs given up in the entire month of May by Chris Sanchez. Very impressive. Impressive indeed. And we've also reached a milestone in the Don Mattingly regime. We're at game 28. Guess what? That's exactly as many games as Rob Thompson had to start the season. So tonight, we're going to look at some of the numbers. We're going to look at some of Rob Thompson's numbers through 28 games, and we're going to look at some of Don Mattingly's numbers through 28 games and try to come to some sort of consensus where this turnaround has come from. So that's on the table tonight. The other night segment is in full bloom tonight. 3 parts of it. NHL draft, MLB draft, player, Phillies prospect of the night, and the card review is back. Yes, there will be a card review tonight. So all of that here on the Final Word with MattyB on the It's Rap Sports Network. And for those of you that are wondering, here we go. Here's what's left on the network for the week. Tomorrow it is the Philly Friday Frenzy and the Fightins Final with Big Al, as the Phillies will take their show out to L.A., the city of angels, Los Angeles, and the Dodgers, Chavez Ravine, all of that. I don't know what time Al's going on the air. I would imagine it's not going to be at 9 o'clock. Probably look for Al around 10, 10:30, 11, maybe 11. If it was me, I'd go on the air about 11. So Al's going to come at you around that time and take you through the night and into the early morning hours of Saturday, talking Phillies, Dodgers, and anything else Philadelphia sports related. So make sure you're tuned in to Saturday. Is the best of the It's Rap Sports of the week, and then I will have you late Saturday night, early Sunday morning for Phillies Dodgers Fightins Final, and then we do it all over again on Sunday with the Philly AM Sports Show and Phillies Dodgers on the Fighting Final. So that's what's happening on the rest of the week here on this network. Let's get to some of this stuff right here. Hey, what's going on, Elephant? How are you? Joel checks in. How are you? Ricky Deal, my main man, is saying, Matt, go Phillies. That's right. Nick Sirianni is an over-anxious used car salesman. He's not the master of ceremonies in a three-ring circus. But you know what? I can see the car salesman thing. I can see it. He's going to get one of those plaid jackets. Wear one of those plaid jackets on the sidelines, and you'd have the look. Are the phone lines going to be open? They will be open. Philly's still bad. I don't know, Star Wars. And you know what? I'm not going to sit here and run to their defense. The offense is still not working. Once again, we're still reliable on the home run, but the pitching, I mean, 6 straight really good appearances and really good starts from our starting rotation. And a lot of people and I've actually gotten in this argument with somebody in Ohio. I don't know why the hell this conversation came up when I was in Ohio, but the conversation was, how can you rely on the Phillies starting pitching night after night? Well, in essence, you're right. That's a great question, but we've been doing that since 2022, and it's worked for 4 years. So you're right. When is that other shoe going to drop? It just hasn't yet for the Phillies when it comes to the pitching, for the most part. Well, we haven't had great starting pitching all season long. We got a few clunkers in there, but for the most part, it's been the starting pitching that has carried this team for 4 years. And they are definitely in full bloom doing that in 2026. Christopher Sanchez in May, 5 stars, 39 innings, 45 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 0 wins, as Star Wars giving us the numbers. Yes, no earned runs, or I guess no runs. Does it count for unearned runs? No, I guess it doesn't, right? No earned runs for the month of May. Scoreless in the month of May. So you're absolutely right. Star Wars, great stuff there with the numbers, but we're going to go deeper into the numbers tonight because we're gonna put Mattingly up against Thompson at least for 28 games because some of these numbers are astonishing about the turnaround in these stats. So we're gonna get into all that. Let's get into our day in Philadelphia sports history as we do every night to start off the program. Let's strap in, strap on, strap up, keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times, and we're gonna go. And here's the thing. I'm not on the air tomorrow night, so I'm going to take a moment from tomorrow, May 29th, from Philadelphia sports history. The one from today is actually pretty poignant and pertinent. It's relatable to Grover Cleveland Alexander, not his record with his streak, but the end of his career. But tomorrow's day in Philadelphia sports history is more pertinent, and it rains pertinent every year it comes around, and it brings a tear to my eye every time it comes around because I remember where I was when the news broke, when this happened on this day in Philadelphia sports history tomorrow, May 29th. And it occurred in 1989. Mike Schmidt, in a tearful press conference in San Diego, announced his retirement from baseball. Quote, some 18 years ago, I left Dayton, Ohio with 2 very bad knees and a dream to become a Major League Baseball player. Sobbed Schmidt. I thank God that dream came true. After 18 years with the franchise, the Phillies' greatest player, and at times the fans' most troubling conundrum, had for maybe the first time opened up his heart to Philadelphia. So a day that I will never forget. I was 16 years old. Mike Schmidt was my world. He was baseball in a nutshell, the greatest player I've ever seen play in person. The greatest player in this franchise's history, the greatest third baseman in baseball history, retired live and in front of everybody around dinner time, local Philadelphia time out in San Diego, ending his 18-year career. And I didn't know, at 16 years old, you're used to a couple of things. And Mike Schmidt and the Phillies was one of them. I honestly didn't know what was going to happen next. And obviously the sun did set and rise the next day and we moved on. Schmidt was voted into the All-Star game that year by the fans as a starter. but because his retirement did not play, but he was honored out there in Anaheim at the 89 All-Star game. They brought him out in uniform and gave him a salute. And then the Phillies retired his number a year later in 1990. And then, they had a ceremony for him in 89. And then a year later in 90, they retired his number. And then 1995, first ballot Hall of Famer into Cooperstown. But it was end of an era for me, man. I mean, the Phillies and Schmidt himself, I probably missed the really good part of Mike Schmidt's career as I was coming to age. First memories of Schmidt I have are 1980 in the World Series. And after that, Schmidt was really good in 83, was really good in 86. But for the most part, I missed the best part of Mike Schmidt in his career. But it's still, of course, knowing the legacy and living it every day, you're gravitated towards the player. And it was definitely a heartfelt day. And I still get a tear to my eye when I watch him in that press conference. And Richie Ashburn over there consoling him in the other stall as he broke down in front of the media. Just a real rough day to be a Philadelphia sports fan. And I remember it live. And yeah, so tomorrow, May 29th, 1989, Mike Schmidt retires after 18 years. And that is your day in Philadelphia sports history. So tough day, man. Dave, how you doing tonight? This is a guy you get excited for getting a chance to work with Vic Fangio. I truly believe Jonathan Grenard will have a career numbers this upcoming season. Why? Star Wars, why? And we're going to get into this. This is a perfect segue into the Eagles derangement syndrome topic that we're going to get into here in about 2 minutes. I love the fact that you're going to start us off here, but give me the reasons why you think that. What tells you that? What is in the tea leaves that you're reading that says Jonathan Grenard is going to have career year under Vic Fangio? Not saying he won't. But why do you say he will? Because we traded for him? Because we got him on draft night? Because we desperately need another edge rusher? Why? What tells you that? And again, a perfect segue into what our first topic of the night is going to be. Matt, like my profile. I will. Wildwood 365. Are you in Wildwood, Ricky? If you are, be on the lookout for my stepdaughter. She'll be there tomorrow, traveling with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's parents. I was not in on the decision to let that happen. She's 17. He's 16. I was not. It was all her mother's decision. I was a hard no. But if you're in Wildwood, Ricky, look for her. Ricky should be the first. Well, if Ricky wants to be, he can be. So, but I'm going to bring this back up. Rick, Star Wars, this is a guy you get excited for, getting a chance to work with Vic Fangio. Okay. He truly believes that Jonathan Grenard will have career numbers this coming season. And I say why. I'm still waiting for the response of why Star Wars thinks that. And this is what I want to lead into tonight. As we are into OTAs, now the propaganda's flowing, the green Kool-Aid's moving through, as we got the invisible progress, we got, Jalen Hurts having to talk about A.J. Brown and his wedding and all this other nonsense. And the after effect of this is people getting, once again, we're getting really excited for practice. The Eagles look really good down there at OTAs. Whoa, gee. That's great. What the hell does that mean? They're not playing a game. They're in shorts inside the facility, right? Everything looks great when you're not playing anybody and no pressure. And this is what I want to ask. The first question I want to throw out there tonight is this is a football team that last year, in all intents and purposes, came up short. As I mentioned, they had a dynasty in the grip of their hand. In the grip of their hand, they had an opportunity to do something for the fan base that no other team in Eagles history has ever done. They had an opportunity to finally take their place, rightfully so, amongst the NFL elites. And what did they do? collectively, not Jalen, not Nick, not the defense, not the offense, but collectively, what did they do? They flamed out. They came up short. They came up small. So what is their big decision in the offseason to do? Change offensive coordinators yet again. We're bringing back the same core group of players. We're bringing back the same philosophy, the same head coach, the same structure, the same climate, culture, philosophy. All of that is the same. Why are Eagles fans running around chanting Super Bowl in 2026? Seven. Why are they chanting Super Bowl when this team is relatively bringing back the same people, the same group of players who flamed out in 2025, who had an opportunity to start a dynasty, but came up short, small, were not prepared, were not coached well, did not execute correctly, all those other things? Why are all of a sudden, and now we're changing offensive coordinators, we're changing offensive systems. Why does that make us a Super Bowl contender? Have we forgot? Are we blocking out 2025? Are we going right from 2024 to 2026? What makes people out there believe that under another offensive coordinator who's ushering in this is not Kellen Moore, this is not Patullo, who are going to sort of take their system, try to blend it in with the offense, and you know what? See what happens. No. This is a guy who the organization, whether or not it's misled or not, is trusting as one of the new hot young minds of NFL football offensive play calling. This is not hey, we're just bringing this guy in. This is obviously, and we talked about it on, I think, this show and on the Birds Blast. And Kyle agrees with me. This is an audition period for your head coach and your quarterback. Because Howie Roseman has turned over the organization on the offensive side to an unknown, unproven play caller. Based purely on, he comes from that mold that McVay, Shanahan, the next great thing in offensive play calling in this century. He has turned the offense over to this guy. And if you think he's here for a 1 or 2, it's not it's not Mannion who needs to fear for his job. It's Sirianni. Because Howie Roseman's not going to let yet another offensive coordinator walk, especially if he's any good. He's going to fire his coach first. He's going to get rid of the quarterback first before getting rid of Sean Mannion, a guy that he's not only brought here, but allowed to remake the offense in his image. Howie has given up control of the offense, of player personnel. He's now listening to the coaches. And I believe he is listening to Sean Mannion completely, not only in the coaches or the players, but also the coaches. We've said goodbye to some of our coaches. Jeff Stoutland's gone. Everyone's poo-pooing that idea because he fell out of favor with Patullo and Sirianni at the end of the year. That might be true. He did. But that was as a run game coordinator, not as the offensive line coach. But we fired him, showed him the door, whatever, pink slipped him, whatever, because Sean Mannion wanted to bring his own people in. With all this transition and what Star Wars is going to say, AJ gone. Now you factor that into the mix. What makes Eagles fans out there think this team's going to win a Super Bowl? When they failed miserably at trying to repeat and usher in the dynasty with the same group of players. This is what I don't get. And this is where the invisible progress stuff really burns my ass because, again, a perennial Super Bowl contender, a team that was on the cusp of dynasty, and now we're talking about invisible progress a year after that? Is this what a perennial Super Bowl contender should be talking about at practices? Invisible progress. It's coming along. No. It should already be humming along. So it's annoying me. And what's annoying me the most about this is when people stand up and go up against the moral majority, those out there that call themselves fans, but also chastise people like me for having a narrative, which of course I do. My narrative is to get rid of Nick Sirianni, get rid of Jalen Hurts, and get rid of Howie Roseman. That's my narrative. I want him out of here. But they chastise people like me. But they are the same as me, just on the other side. But because they're the moral majority, they're the high and mighty, somebody died and made them king or queen, they feel as if they have the ability to tell you and me and those of us who are not buying this nonsense to shut up. Those people are small and ignorant people, man. So for those of you that are continuing to speak out against the evil empire, please do. You have a safe space here. But again, I want to know why you think that. Why do you think this team is built to repeat, or not repeat, but win a Super Bowl, bringing back the same group of players that flamed out in 2025? Is it the coordinator that's going to was it really Kevin Patullo's fault? All of it? I don't think so. I don't think so. And we're going to find out exactly pretty much what the percentage was that was his fault this season. So that's I guess that's the first rant of the night. I've got 2 days of pent up stuff, so we're gonna be ranting quite a bit here tonight. So the phone lines are open. So if you want to jump in, you know the drill. Hop on, come backstage. I'll pull you on, and we'll have fun. Everything's on the table. If you want to talk about this, Phillies, whatever you want, bring it to bear. But be forewarned, if you're going to come here with the Eagles tonight, be ready to back up what you say with something other than "I think so." I want numbers. I want reasons. So I'm still waiting for Star Wars to give me why he thinks this. He hasn't answered yet. There's a lot of this going around, not just with Star Wars, not with John Grenard, but a lot of it. Like Jalen Hurts, that's probably the number one. It always goes back to Hurts. Hurts is going to have a successful season under Sean Mannion. What makes you think that? Jalen Hurts is going to be taken out of what he believes, what he is used to. He is going to be put under center. Well, they're saying right now that's a lot. They're doing a lot under center in OTAs right now. He is going to be placed completely under center. He is going to be made to throw timing. What makes you think he can do that when he has shown absolutely no ability to do that consistently in the last 4 years? Again, why do people think they're a lock for a return to the Super Bowl when the same team that flamed out last year is coming back this year? Still waiting on Star Wars. Come on. Give me the reason. Joe Hell, what up?
I don't want to talk birds. Can we talk All-Star Weekend? I just found out this is right up your alley with the card segment. And then we'll talk Phillies. There's a big, massive card show during All-Star Weekend in the convention center where everything else is going to be. I just found out from sources, somebody that works with the Phillies. Just wanted to give you a heads up.
That makes sense. That's a great idea. Great idea.
I just wanted to give you, breaking news on the final word with MattyB. A massive card show. And in the card show, the legends are going to be out signing autographs.
For free?
Yes.
I don't know, Joe.
Like, legends.
Is it going to cost to get into the show?
$5 admission.
It's pretty good.
That's not bad. And it goes to charity.
Yeah, listen, it's a great idea. I'll look up some details on this, and I definitely might check it out.
It's something different. Talking Phillies numbers. I think the Phillies are better under Donnie Baseball than they are Rob Thompson.
Okay. Well, Mattingly's 20-8 and Thompson was 9-19. So You're not breaking news. You're not breaking news right now, Joe Hale. Why do you feel that way?
We're talking about the last 25 when Thompson took over too.
Rob Thompson had 28 games before they canned him, and he was 9-19. Don Mattingly has now managed 28 games. He's now 20-8.
They love playing hard baseball. Look at the lineup change for the past 2 nights. Something that had to be done. Drop Trey Turner. What does he do? He hits. Move Kyle Schwarber. That should have been a lineup. Crawford is not.
Joe, hang on. I'm not saying you're wrong about moving Turner down. It worked. Joe, the offense is far from fixed. Let's get this. Let's get that out there, right, Joe? You know that as well as I do, right? The offense is actually quite bad for this team.
It's going to be fixed next year when Crawford batting is going to bat number 1.
And what, we're going to bat Schwarber too? See, the problem goes deeper. And I'm not 20-8. Don't lie, but the pitching I think is the real reason why they're 20-8 under Mattingly. And we're going to get into that why I think that in a little bit. But offensively speaking, this team stinks. Straight up stinks. And Schwarber leading off, it does not give me cause of, oh, great. I know Turner had to be moved down. He did. But moving Schwarber up to the leadoff spot is not the answer, Joe. It's not the answer.
So, I agree. So, next year, I already have if there's a league, they big exchange and stuff already, and they're starting to talk, which is weird.
Listen, there will be a year. I don't know when. Will it be delayed? Will it be like it was in 22? I don't know, but there will be a season. I totally believe that.
My lineup, my first 4 guys in the lineup: Crawford, Turner, Harper, Schwarber.
It's not going to happen, Joe.
Why?
Joe, you're an intelligent guy. You're a fan of this city. You're a fan of this team. The man doesn't want to bat 4th.
So, would you move Turner to 4th?
No, I would move Schwarber's ass to 4th or move his ass to the bench if he doesn't want to hit cleanup. That's what I would do. That's what I'm saying, Joe. The problem on this team runs deeper than the players. It runs deeper. It's the culture they've created. It's the ability to allow Schwarber to dictate where he wants to bat inside the lineup. That's the real problem with this team. I really would have wished they would have moved on from him. They had a chance. Offensively, this team would be better. Maybe not much more better, but if they would have brought Alonso in here and stuck his ass in the cleanup spot, things would have been a lot more fluid or up top of that lineup. I agree with Schwarber should be in batting 4th, but it's not going to happen because he won't allow himself to bat 4th. Simply as that, and the team lets him get away with it.
So, my next question is, say if there's a salary cap,
mm-hmm.
do the Phillies have to trade players?
I'm sure it's going to be a grandfather situation because teams would be well over the salary. And most teams are going to bust the cap right off the bat. There's going to have to be some grandfather situation, some effective date that teams have to get under the cap, and it can't be in a course of one off season. They're going to have to give them time to maneuver their salaries around.
Maybe we do get our wish. Trade Schwarber.
Listen, you could probably move Schwarber right now if you could, if you think about it.
You could, but I don't think they're going to.
No, of course they're not. No, because he puts asses in the seats because people come to see home runs.
Because I think they're going to go get my. I think there's going to be a right-handed bat they try to go after and put in right field.
So the right-handed bat situation. Okay, who do you want?
Everybody wants Trout, right?
It's the name.
He was out there less expensive than better upgraded than Garcia. I want Tatis.
Yeah, I mean, okay, bring him here. Now you have some flexibility with Tatis. Put him at 2, put him at 1, but once again, we have a problem because that shifts everybody down in the lineup, and that means Schwarber can't. He's not going to bat 4th or 3rd.
I would bat him 6th Tatis.
Why would you bat him 6th? You bat him. He doesn't hit for power. He hits for contact. He's a table setter. Why would you bat him 6th?
Someone at my work said, "How about Stott number 2?" But Stott's not ready. He's having a bat. He's
we don't have Joe. We don't have a number 2 hole hitter, and it's not your fault. We still have one. Well, maybe Turner is. I don't know. Maybe Turner's the guy.
I had to argue with this person today. Flyers talk. Carolina, Vegas. Who wins the cup and why? And
yeah, Carolina M5.
Just so we can say Carter Hart's a loser.
No, it just there's no one going to stop the Hurricanes. They're just that good. I mean, if they can go in, so it's going to be the travel situation too. Is going to be something to factor here. If they can steal a game in Carolina, maybe it goes 6. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Carolina in 5.
So with Carter Hart going to Vegas, did the Flyers get a comp pick? There was
no. So I'll explain this again, and I've heard a lot, and you're not the first one. I've heard many people start, and on this very same network, the network that I love, created from my loins. This network, this is my baby, right? And I got people on this network spewing lies and propaganda all the time. So I'm going to dispel a rumor right now. The Carter Hart situation was a situation more in the timing area than anything else. The year that Carter Hart was indicted and essentially arrested for the crime of what he was alleged to have done, it was also the final year of his current deal. He was on his ELC, his initial entry, his first contract was wrapping up that season. At the end of that year, or actually, I know it was his first RFA deal, so it was wrapping up at the end of that year. The Flyers then, under the current guidelines of the CBA, had till July 1st of that year to offer him another an offer sheet for another contract. Okay. The Flyers elected not to offer him another contract. The Flyers are the ones that allowed Carter Hart to become a free agent. Yes, under the stuff that was going on in the NHL, whatever. But he couldn't come to America at that time and play. But by the CBA didn't cover this about what would happen if a player gets indicted during the season of his contract year and it can't play the following year. The Flyers had to offer him a contract or an offer sheet by July 1st, 2024, was it? In order for him not to hit the open market as an unrestricted free agent. It had nothing to do with the NHL saying he can't play for the Flyers, he can't play. No, it was under the CBA. So Flyers could have re-signed him technically, even though he was pending an indictment and pending criminal charges. Has nothing to do with the NHL. Those who think that the NHL screwed the Flyers over in the Carter Hart situation are uninformed. It was everything to do with timing, Joe.
Okay. Now, my next question. Do the Flyers have to pay torts still?
I think they do. I think, he was under contract for 5 years, wasn't he?
I don't remember.
I think he was.
Because I'm just curious. So 94 WIP said Minchkov or Tocchet. Who goes and why? I don't know if you heard that today.
No, I haven't listened to 94 WIP in like 5 years. Minchkov or Tocchet got to go? Or what?
Well, who goes and why? They basically brought up a scenario.
So fire the head coach or get rid of Minchkov?
Yeah, which one?
Get rid of Minchkov.
That's what everybody's saying.
Yeah, I don't.
Except Homer Al Morgani.
What was Al saying the reason why he would not do that?
He thinks it's all bullshit. What's going? He thinks it's Tocchet's fault not playing Minchkov and stuff like that. He thinks it's Tocchet's fault when he got hired that Minchkov didn't practice that he wasn't practicing overseas.
No. That's amazing because Al Morganti knows a lot about hockey. He knows a lot about the subculture of hockey too. So,
but he's trying to blame it on the Flyers and Rickhocket.
I don't know, man. He works for the Flyers, doesn't he?
No.
Doesn't he work for NBC Sports? Don't they work for the Flyers? Don't they the official partner of the Flyers in terms of broadcasting?
No.
CBS, NBC 10, whatever it is.
No, it's Well, he said I don't know.
That's amazing. I mean, hey, listen, he's got his opinion. I disagree. I think Talkin handled the Mishkov situation appropriately. I think
the Flyers are going to be big spenders. What is it? July 1st?
July 1st. Yep, July 1st.
Senators galore.
Who? Yeah, 40-year-old Patrick Kane. You know,
no.
45-year-old Alexander Ovechkin. We can't sign Malkin. He already re-signed with the Penguins.
I think it's going to be. I think the kid out of Edmonton is going to be asking out.
Who?
The center that everybody wants.
Connor McDavid?
Yeah.
Joe, hang on, man. Joe, I gotta. Is there enough oxygen pumping into the room you're sitting in right now?
I wish it would happen. Don't get my hopes up. You know what?
No, Joe, there's no way they're going back through that Wayne Gretzky thing again. They learned their lesson. Connor McDavid will never play for another hockey team other than.
You know who I'd want on it? I would want Jonathan Toews on a one-year deal. Jonathan Toews.
39-year-old Towels, yeah, 39
on a one-year deal.
Okay, where you go? What line's he on?
Fourth.
What are you gonna do with Sean Couturier?
Trade him.
What his 8-year contract?
Hey,
come on, Joe. Joe, we gotta think realistically here.
Realistically, the Flyers had a lot of second-round picks in the NHL draft this year.
I think they got like 2 or 3. Yeah, they got a few.
I think they packaged that and try to move up in the first round and keep that Toronto pick.
There's no way they're going to be able to do that. Well, I'm not saying that. They could get, well, they're at 23. They could maybe go into the teens. But, Joe, if you want to get a day oneer, you got to go up into the top 5. And they're not doing that without giving up that Toronto pick and the boatload of prospects and a couple players.
I noticed everybody's going to, and then I'll let you go. Everybody's going to Michigan State.
What, for hockey?
Yes. The Flyers prospects are. But why isn't Jet Lachenko going? Did he finish college?
Lachenko's going to the NCAA? Are you serious?
No. Did he finish college?
No. So here's the thing, though. But Jet Lachenko's been a professional, being paid up in the CHL. No, actually, they can move back down to the NCAA. But
I wish you would go to Michigan State.
Oh, so what are you talking about? So he's not going to Michigan State? You're talking out of a fantasy role here? Come on, Joe.
One of them is not. It's not him. One of them's going to Michigan State.
Other than Porter Mortone. So let's do Flyers prospects, Michigan State. See who's going. Let's see who's going. What the hell? I'm coming back with Porter Martone and Shane. Shane Vasinji, who's actually a really good player, but he's been there for a couple of years. Nobody else headed to Michigan State, Joe.
I thought it was Harabulan or something.
No, there's only 2 go. There's only 2. Well, now there's 1 because Porter Martone is not in Michigan State anymore.
If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Vasinji is the only one that's currently there, and he's been in the Flyers system since 2023.
Okay.
Right. All right, Joe.
Yep. When are you on it? When are you on next?
Yeah. So that Tuesday.
Okay, because I got you.
Tuesday. Yeah, this is a tough time of the year for me. Starting tomorrow, I got a college summer league game tomorrow, a college summer league game on Saturday, and then I start up at Cooperstown on Sunday, and I'm there till the end of August.
Unless it rain out, you'll come on.
Well, If it's a rain out, yeah, we'll see. I'm going to try my best. It's going to be burning the candle at 70 different ends, but I've done it many different summers. We'll get through this one.
Okay.
All right, Joe?
Yep.
All right, man. Joe Hale, man. Joe Hale. Speaking Joe Hale. I feel like they're the same team as they were under Thompson. It's just the players gave up on Thompson. And Elephant, with those comments that Bryce Harper made 3 different separate times about how, they were waiting on the organization to make a move there. I think you might be right. I do believe that Thompson was not as loved in that locker room as people were believing he was. There is something to that, but we're going to break some numbers now, and I just want to get, maybe it'll be a clearer picture. I don't know, but we're going to go through some numbers here in a minute. Philly's got to score more runs. No crap, man. You ain't kidding. That's not breaking any news. Philly's got to score more runs. For who? What? For themselves, I guess, right? They ain't getting Tatis and his $20 million contract that doesn't end until the 2035 season. Come on. I understand where Joe's at, man. He needs something to happen offensively. And we all feel that way. And we're all coming up with crazy trades. Mike Trout is a crazy trade, but actually pretty realistic right now, even though he's come back down to earth a little bit, but he's still healthy. It's so bad that we are out here, and I guarantee you every Phillies fan is the same, MP. We've all worked up the trades in our head right now, probably more than once, to try to get a right-handed bat, right? We're already starting to Rolodex some players right now. And the thing is, and this is another aspect of this whole right-handed bat thing. If you look at the pending free agents in 2027, right? And if you look at the right fielder situation or left fielder, or even the outfield in general, there's not too many decent names out there in the first place that you should spend money on. The Phillies are possibly, if they decide to address this issue, which they probably will have no other choice but to, they're going to have to go after a player that's currently under contract for multiple seasons beyond this one, or at least one more beyond this one. Which, again, I'm not too upset about because I want a long-term fix here. I don't want to do this every year. I'm tired of this. So, I get it. But Joe wants structure to the lineup, man, as I do. But as long as freaking Schwarber's here, that structure's never coming. But I would love, imagine Tatis batting second. Imagine a lineup with Turner, Tatis, Harper, Schwarber, top 4. That's a pretty damn good lineup, man. What do I get paid for games in Cooperstown? Well, MP, here's the deal. I do not want to really put this out over the general airwaves, but I will leave you at this. We are not, so there's 2 parks up there. There's the All-Star Village and the Dreams Park. I'm with Dreams Park, okay? And with Dreams Park, you are not technically, well, you aren't. You're not an employee of the park. You're an employee of the team. So you're an independent contractor. You negotiate your fee with that team. The park sets you up with the team, pairs you up with one, and then based on how many weeks you're going to work or what weeks you're going to work, they pair you up with the team. Then you start a negotiation process between you and that team. And that's between you and the team. I'll tell you, it's anywhere in the range of $1,000 to $1,300 for a week. It's in that range there. And you'll do, on a high end, you'll do 8 games in 6 days. On a low end, you'll do 7 to 6 games in 6 days. It's pretty good. And let me tell you what. It's my 4th year doing it. And I only live 45 minutes from there, so I don't stay at the park. They'll put you up there. They'll feed you. They'll do all that stuff for you. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Baseball sucks. It's terrible baseball, but it is the atmosphere and all that up there that can't be beat. Don't call out Harper. I'll do what I want to do. God damn it. They'll go get Harrison Bader again. You know what? And he's under contract for next year. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. At this point, I wouldn't care. Phillies are 20-8 under Mattingly, but they are still not hitting. Absolutely right. They're batting 228 as a team. Only 3 baseball teams have a lower batting average. Look at some of these averages. You're not getting an argument from me, but they're not batting 228 as a team under Mattingly. You know that, right? They're batting significantly better than that. Under Mattingly. That's the point of what I'm trying to get through here. So we're going to get into those those numbers and those things here at some point. So let's continue on with the show.
Breaking news on the It's a Rap Sports Network. Real talk, real sports right now. It's a Rap. Breaking.
We have breaking news. Just entered the studio. This comes across the airwaves. I am here to report breaking news from the It's a Rap Sports Network from a reliable source. Very reliable source. The Philadelphia Eagles and Brandon Graham will have a reunion in 2026. That's right, folks. Brandon Graham will return to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2026. The news will not become official until sometime after training camp. And you connect the dots why. They're not going to make that official until after training camp. But Brandon Graham, from a very, very, very reliable source from the inside, who spoke to the man himself, will return to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2026 on a 1-year deal. So breaking news here on the It's a Rap Sports Network, Brandon Graham is coming back for another year. There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed that. So like that little segue there, little breaking news segue. We need a trade by deadline to have a chance. So you're wanting to do one prior to the deadline, or you're saying we have to have a trade at the deadline? I don't know. We're gonna do this. Matty, do you umpire girls softball games? No, I do not. I only umpire baseball. I don't even know what the hell softball is. I'm sorry, Dave. I don't play around with girls baseball. I know. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't do softball. A lot of my friends do. But I do not do softball. The Phillies are a game and a half out of the wild card. Shocking. Yeah, but there's like 4 teams ahead of them. WGAF. I don't know what that means. Byron Bruxton is the guy I go after if I'm the GM. Yeah. Is a name that's also floating around. Christian Walker is another name that's floating around. Now, Christian Walker. Now, everybody seems to be fixated on a right or outfielder, right? But Christian Walker, who currently plays for the Astros, who is under contract, actually only a 1-year deal. He only signed a 1-year deal, so he's only under contract for this year, is a first baseman. Now, Bryce Harper has said in the past that he would go back to the outfield for the right person. So if the Phillies are going to bring in a right-handed first baseman that can help out with the middle of that lineup, I would imagine that maybe Harper would go back to the outfield for that. So that's something, too, to think about. It doesn't necessarily have to be an outfielder. Harper's been on record by saying he'd go back to the outfield for the right person, which, thank you, St. Bryce, for being that tolerable that you're going to allow yourself to go back to the outfield for the right guy. But so keep that in mind. It does not necessarily have to be an outfielder. Again, if Christian Walker does come here, why it makes the decision to bring back Kyle Schwarber that much more stupider for me? Because we could have just done away with that whole thing, moved Harper to DH, moved Lonzo to first. Boom, we're done. We don't have to do this anymore. But now we decided to bring back friggin' Kyle Schwarber. We need to upgrade our offense some way now or before the deadline. No, I agree. But there's only a handful. If you look around baseball right now, I mean, with the exception, of course, of the Giants, the Astros, Angels, and maybe on a more of a, the Mets are kind of trending that way. But there's really only about 2 or 3 teams that you can say that are kind of out of this right now. And I know that cream does rise to the top and everybody will settle down late at some point. But to try to snag a player from a team other than those teams that I talked about, it's going to be damn near impossible because these teams still believe they got a puncher's chance. I watched the White Sox today. They're a really good young team. The Chicago White Sox. They're far exceeding their expectations in 2026. Now, does that last? Maybe, maybe not. But the problem is it's lasting. And, we're creeping closer and closer and closer to that trade deadline. So your trade partners right now are pretty limited, hence why I go to the Christian Walker thing in Houston, who's pretty much sinking like a stone right now. And that's why the Mike Trout rumors, I think, are so persistent, because the Angels are pretty much out of this to begin with. So these are the reasons why these players are, I think, being magnified, because of their team situation as well. Their teams might be more applicable to trade with you. But some of these other names like Bryson, like Buxton, some other names that I've heard floating around out there, I think Chapman, he plays for the Giants. I mean, Bader plays for the Giants. These are good. These are names, but they're a limited group right now. Retire Brandon Graham, please. We had enough. Well, you're gonna have to deal with it one more year, Star Wars. As I said, I have a reliable source that got it from the horse's mouth that Brandon Graham will return in 2026. But he will not make that news will not become official till sometime at the end of July, early August, because they don't want Brandon doesn't want to go training camp, which I don't blame him. So Brandon Graham will be back in 2026 for the Eagles. And again, how's that make you feel? That's what we're limited. Now, these are our options. We're bringing back Brandon Graham. San Antonio has forced a game 7. Oh, interesting. Well, the winner of that series is winning the finals. Bryce also said that last offseason when he won. Yeah, I know. I understand that. All right, let's go back to the phones. Michael Peppernick.
Yo, what up, Matty? You asked a question earlier. Why do Eagles fans think that the Eagles can make it to the Super Bowl? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Part of it might be because of the defense. Yeah. Okay. The defense. I think the defense. They didn't have their Josh Sweat out there,
and they
on the one end. They got Greenwald. Remember that?
But you're right. And I asked Star Wars this hours ago. I asked him to tell me.
And Josh Sweat's available. But
he's not an Eagle. My point is right now.
Available. He's available.
As we wake up on May 28th, what makes you think the same team, relatively the same team, is going to win a Super or get to the Super Bowl and challenge for one, that flamed out in the first round of the playoffs and literally clunked and clanked their way through the 2025 season? What makes you think that?
I just said to you, the defense. I think the defense is. I think they got that guy Grenard. Cooper DeJean's going to be playing safety, and when they're not in the nickel, their nickel is going back to slot.
Okay.
I think the defense. I think they're looking. I'm looking at like they did when they had that good defense when they won the Super Bowl. Just put points up, and we'll take care of the rest.
Now you also
Jim Johnson lived by that. Put 14 points up or 16 points, and our defense will win the game for you.
I think Saquon Barkley had a little bit to do with the offense helping out too.
I think he's going to have a better year this year.
Okay, but I think he had to have a 25. He had to have a 2,500-yard all-purpose season in order for the Eagles to be in position to win the Super Bowl. Is he going to have a 2,500-yard all-purpose season in 2026?
I don't know about that, but I think, like I said, I can't speak for you. You asked what makes me feel, and I gave you my reason. I'm now the offense. But what I'm saying is the offense. We all know the offense. If it don't click, the defense can't be out there like Chip Kelly's defense was out there. You know what I mean? You can't be out there every 30 seconds. But I think. Okay, it was a combination of a lot of stuff last year. You know that. It just, the offensive line was hurt. Jalen's, he went backwards. The offensive coordinator just, whoever who's calling the plays was either him or Sirianni. Oh, and I got something to say to you about that one. And it just, the combination of things. I think it's different this year. So check this out. I saw this reel. It was Randy Moss, Travis Kelce, and Jason Kelce. They're fishing, and they asked him about the Eagles and with Jalen. And this was right out of Jason Kelce's mouth. He goes, he played well under Steichen, and he played well under Kellen Moore. That's what he told Randy Moss. Meaning the other guys in there, didn't. What I'm always saying, they have no connection. That he might actually play under this guy. Well, but the only difference is you're taking an RPO quarterback and asking him to start reading, go through progressions fast and 3-step dropping and running a West Coast offense, which I don't. I'm going to live by it. Look, if they put 14 points up there, that's what they're living by, that motto. 14, 16 points. It's all they got to put up, and that defense is going to hold. I think they can. I think it can.
Now, now let me hit back a little bit, just a little bit. I'm not. Listen, are they? Is it wise to throw a little money down on the Eagles to maybe win the Super Bowl? Absolutely, they're one of the upper crust teams in the league. I'm not saying they're telling you that, but that they're not. But there's a difference between being upper crust and being a Super Bowl champion. And I have a hard time believing that the same team, relatively the same team, and then you factor in no AJ Brown, and you factor in a whole new offensive system for yet another year, is going to somehow find their way back to the Super Bowl in one offseason, one season. Based on the fact that we saw this team flame out. We saw this team not have the ability to sustain offensive drives for whatever reason it was. Spadulo, I disagree. I thought Hurts played the same as he did in 24 last year. The one factor that was different was Saquon. Nobody gives Saquon the love that they should for what he did in 2024, because that is the reason why they were in a position to win a Super Bowl. The defense took them home, and then Jalen just rode on the bus with everybody else. 100%. Jalen Hurts has not had a good year. Jalen Hurts' best year was 2022, and we're still living off of that 1 year. And he has not come up to that play since then.
So you're saying the Eagles have the same players as last year. What's the difference? Do you think the Rams can make the Super Bowl for the Eagles?
I'm not interested in the Rams.
That's not the question.
Conversation is not about the Rams.
No,
again, we always do this. We always do this.
No. The only reason why I'm saying that is because they only made one change. They went and got Trent McDuffie. That's all they did. But for some reason they might be in power rankings or whatever. They might be above the Eagles. There's really no difference. So in the NFC, who are the power teams? What's it? The Rams. Seattle. Okay, they lost their running back. Remember that. Yeah. That running back's gone. Okay, so and I like Sam. I like Sam Darnold. He should have stood up there and said, "Listen, now he's going to kiss my ass, talking shit about me. I was a bust. Look what I did the last 2 years." I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I'm not. Look, you got the Eagles, the Rams, the Bears, Carolina, maybe San Francisco, Seattle. I mean, Detroit. I mean, out of them teams, who can really make the Super Bowl? The Rams, the Eagles, Seattle, maybe 4 teams of them. That's it. It's only like a 4-team thing.
Patrick,
it's a little more wide open than
those are one of those top teams. They are, but they were in the same position they were last year, and they did not bring it home. And we don't spend enough time talking about why they didn't. We blame Kevin Drew when we move right on.
Yeah, but nothing. Listen, but you got think about this. You can't always have where it's going to be the offense carrying. They never equal out all the time. When the Chiefs won all them Super Bowls, they didn't have a top 10 defense win their first 2 Super Bowls.
No,
it was Pat Mahomes in the offense. And then when they went to San Francisco, they had no offense because they had no receivers except Travis Kelce. And the defense carried that team.
But you cannot compare the Chiefs' run to the Eagles. There's no way you can do that. You're talking multiple Super Bowls versus one.
No, I'm talking about how their defense in the Super Bowl carried that team, and then the defense that year carried that team because they didn't really have it. Their offense wasn't because that's the year they lost Tyreek Hill. That's when he left.
2022, right? When they beat
the 49ers Super Bowl the year afterwards. Okay. When they they had nobody. Who was their leading receiver? Juju Smith, whatever his name was, from the former Steelers wide receiver. That was their leading receiver, and that was it. The guy who got the touchdown was signed by the Jets, released by the Jets. Harmon, I think it is, and he got the game-winning touchdown. in overtime.
I hear you, but they won. They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but the defense. What I'm saying, I'm saying the defense carried. That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Not every year is going to be the same. Where you're going to get both. Maybe it takes the Eagles defense to carry it again to a Super Bowl. Who cares? It's called a team sport. There's no I in team. So I mean, that's how I look at it. Like if they're going to get there, not everything's going to click. Did the defense
come up small against the 49ers in the playoffs?
Yes, the defense did come up small. Yes.
Yeah, they did. And the offense didn't back them up at all.
Well, no, the offense didn't have nothing. No. Yeah. But here's the thing with the defense. Here's the thing with defense. Last year here's the thing with defense. They didn't have it was Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith was out. So who was on the opposite end of him? They could triple team him because Carter and Davis, didn't have the same thing going on. They missed that guy. You need that guy. And they got that guy in Bernard.
Well, what about Jalen Phillips, right? What about Jalen Phillips? He wasn't that guy?
Yeah. Well, this guy's got some of the most sacks or top 3 sacks the last 2-3 years, like whatever he had.
Well, in 2024 he did. He had 12 sacks in 2024.
Okay. Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe they pull a trade for Max Crosby. I mean, people forget he's still out there. I mean, I
agree.
Josh Sweat's available. We don't know what's going to happen.
Right, but I'm sitting here on May 28th, very early into the offseason.
Well, anything can happen.
We started playing now. But this complete, how dare you speak against the Eagles winning a Super Bowl because they are the best.
Oh, no,
I don't even think they're the best I don't even think they're the best in the division anymore right now.
Well, who's better than them? Seriously.
Well, again, I think honestly it's a crapshoot between all 3 of those teams. Okay, I don't know if it's necessarily that the Eagles have these teams have come up to the Eagles or the Eagles have gone down to them.
The Eagles have gone down. The Eagles go down because here's the thing: nothing against Washington. Okay, nothing against Washington. We'll start with them. They have no running game. That guy he built to be their leading rusher. Oh, go back to last year. Look at the tape. Elbow, knee, shoulder, whatever the hell his problem, because he's running the ball. He's built like a basketball player. He ought to smarten up like the guy out in Carolina who only runs when it need to be bases because he knows his body couldn't withstand it. Now you go to the Giants, Jackson Dart. Now sophomore year. What's that say? Oh, video on the guy. Now they have video on him because that kid's young.
It's coming back from a bad injury, right?
Yeah, but that kid, they're getting their team back. I get it. They still, it's the offensive line they don't have a good offensive line. They're building that. But Jackson Dart, like any young quarterback who thinks he can run, he thinks he's Superman. That's the downfall of that team. That's going to be the downfall. Not because they don't have a running game like Washington. He's going to be, I got to go. That's what he's going to do.
Oh, I think you got to go. No, yeah.
No,
okay, you're right.
He's just going to be like, that's Jackson Dart. I watched him last year. Like, a lot of them runs, I think, were the fact that he just, like,
it was for his
he saw an opening. Not just that. Saw an opening and said, I'm going.
Now, again, hang on, Pepper. You're making great points here. But there's the parity aspect of all this too. We didn't see the Giants coming. We didn't see the Carolina Panthers coming. I didn't see the Seahawks coming. There's going to be a team like that next year. I'm just saying there is the Eagles for the greatness that they've been over the last few years. There's no lock to their return to greatness in 2026. They're going over a complete offensive transition, not just the coordinator. This is different than any other of the years. The coordinator is bringing in his system, and he is going to force these guys to run his system. Okay. And whether or not they perform it or they don't perform it, we'll see. Kellen Moore, after 4 weeks, said, I can't trust this quarterback to win games. We got to start running the football. I got a bell cow running back here. I'm going to use him. And they did perfectly. Right?
Maybe it happens again.
They tried to do it again last year. It didn't work. And the offensive line was dinged up, but he still ran for over 1,000 yards. You got nothing from the vertical attack. I'm just saying, what makes you think that it's a lock? It's coming back this year.
I never said it was a lock. I said they could get there. If it is, it's going to be because of the defense. That's all I said.
The defense. So the offense is still going to struggle and sputter. But the defense is going to carry them.
I think any good defense lives by the Jim Johnson theory. You get 14 to 16 points, you should be able to stop the other team.
I agree. Okay. But can you do
That's
that in 2026 in the NFL? I don't know.
I mean, I
don't know.
Depends. See, I lost my train of thought when you were saying something about I'll just say this: the whole NFL, the whole AFC will just be happy that Pat Mahomes was out last year. That's all, and possibly he's going to be back this year. Who knows how healthy he's going to be? But
is he ready for Week 1? Is he projected to be ready for Week 1? Because that was late in the year.
I heard. Listen, I've heard a lot. I've heard Week 1. I've heard training camp. I've heard. I mean, listen.
I heard Week 4.
You know what he did? He went over. Look, you got to understand. These guys are smart. Go over to Germany.
Yeah.
Go get the surgery. Get the stem cells and all that bullshit all that done. You get yeah. All the stuff you can get done. And you just it's stuff they won't do here because I know if they do here.
Yeah. No, I know.
Let's go to the Phillies. I got to get to them.
Yep.
There's got to be something in them contracts, man. That neither one them top 3 guys can't move out of them top 3 spot. Move. I got to be because
that's frustrating, man. It's so frustrating.
I wonder if the call is coming from Dombrowski.
I don't know, but I'd love to know. It's got to be a 30 for 30 after all this is over with. Find out why he wouldn't bat fourth.
Well, here's the thing. First off, there's no leaders on this team. I'm going to say that right now. I've been saying that for years. If there was a leader on this team, why wouldn't the leaders say we need to have a team meeting or go up to the guys and say, listen, I believe I need you to bat fourth. I need you. No questions asked. Or I'll bat fourth. Harper, where's he at? Why didn't he say he'll bat fourth and just bump Schwarber down? What's the difference?
Harper said he won't bat second.
well, he did.
You hear that, right? Yeah, he said I'm not batting second. I'm not going to second.
Listen. Check this out. Check it out. You guys check it out. Then. What's that tell you? It tells you between them two. Schwarber in the article a couple years ago when he was I'll bat fourth, but I prefer to bat first. Well, you just said you'll bat fourth. I mean, you can't be on the fence with this. I mean, at least Harper's coming out, but this is the problem, and it reminds me a little like Ben Simmons. Remember when they drafted Markelle Fultz and they put Ben at the point guard? They probably thought it would fall apart, and it didn't. It blew up in their face. And then not just that. Brett Brown never forced him to try to shoot. Teach him because he knew he couldn't, but tried to even force them to do it. That's the problem. You start kissing these guys' asses, they ain't going to do it. Schwarber ain't going to budge. He's number 1. I mean, I see Marsh batting fourth the other night. I'm like,
just put batting fourth at some point.
How's this? You know what? Just put Baum there. Here's the reason why you got to leave Baum there. He's used to the pressure. No matter what he does, he's used to it by now. He's used to it. Just put him there. Him or just leave him there. I don't want Trout because here's the deal. If you get Trout, that means we're trading away and I'm not saying going to them guys. Norrie, Rincones, they're going to be traded somewhere because if Marsh pans out after this year, the Phillies might sign him. Now you got him, and then you got 34-year-old. That's how old he is. Remember that. You're stuck with his contract for the next 4 or 5 years, which is $140-some million or around there. Guaranteed, no trade unless he wants to be traded. So that means we're stuck with his $37 million a year contract, Harper's money, Turner's money.
Schwarber's.
It's Schwarber. And Schwarber don't have a no trade, but he's a 10-5 player, so he can veto any trade he wants. So he has a no trade.
You got JT for 2 more years.
Well, JT's on 2 more years. Well, you could. Yeah, but his contract, you could say cut, boom, goodbye. They did Remuto for $20 million. They could do him for whatever $15 million it is. They could do him if they want to. But that's the problem. If they're going to go young, right? Go after some young player that's out there. I don't care. Somebody's got to be available. I mean, I don't care. Go get Jack Duran, right? But he's a lefty. Who cares? But you got to get something in here. We're not right-handed bat. Christian Walker, Trout, toenail away from getting injured. You got
Walker's only got one more. Walker's on a 1-year deal. You're probably going to have to divvy up some prospects for him. I got you there, and you can slide him in 4. He could bat cleanup.
Yeah, I just read the thing.
Say anything about it.
Harper said it has to be an impact player.
Right guy.
That's what it's. Yes,
the right guy.
No, he's what I read, it's just an impact. Where right guy impact. I don't see Christian Walker as that.
I don't know. He's batting really. He's having a really good year.
These were the names I read were Gurriel, Ward of Baltimore, and shit. Who's the other guy? I got it right here. It was Ward, Gurriel. Oh, yeah, hold on. I got it on my phone. Byron Buxton. I do Buxton. He's got 16 home runs. He's 258. I don't know. He ain't owed $150 million on a contract, is he? I don't think he is.
No.
So I would go do him. One, because he's young. He can play the outfield. He's not 35 years old and a toenail away from being out for 6 months.
Walker's batting 255 with 15 homers, 40 RBIs, and he's got a slugging. He's got an OPS of 850.
Okay, well I know, but I'm just reading. Bucks. Yeah, but does Harper want to run around the outfield? That's the problem.
And we're being freaking held hostage by these players. That's a problem too.
And you can't trade Schwarber unless you're going to trade him somewhere he wants to go. That's the only problem because it's the same way with any of them. That's what I'm saying. Do you really want Mike Trout? You take Mike Trout on this team. Now you got yourself. Your first 4 guys are 32 and older. We're stuck with them to they're close to 40, getting paid, and they could be shit in the bucket, and we'll be owing between all them $200 million a year, $100 million a year.
I agree.
I mean that's ridiculous.
It is.
So what? I know you don't pay attention to the Sixers, but what do you think about Bob Myers? Do you know much about him? I know a little bit.
I don't think Bob Myers. Listen, if Bob Myers wanted to be the president of basketball operations, or the GM, he'd be there right now.
Okay,
he would have been the immediate successor. I think he wants to continue to work for that Harris Blitzer. I think he wants to spearhead the WNBA project. I don't think he wants to go back down in the trenches. If he did, he'd already be there.
Okay.
That's what I think.
What do you think about the A.J. Brown trade? Because I heard it's not as guaranteed with the Patriots.
I still believe there's a deal that's already done. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't with the Patriots. I think Buffalo's still in play. It's going to be fun to see where everyone's going to be goddamn. When is that? June 1st next week? Until it's done, everyone's going to be glued to their computers and phones.
It's Sunday.
Yeah.
Monday.
Right. So I don't know. I think it's a done deal. Honestly, there's no way JJ's on this football team next year. Granted, where he's headed, that's the question. I think it's AFC, and I think it's to the Buffalo Bills.
You know what? I hope it is to the Bills. Then I gotta listen to them stinking fans when they can't get past the first round, or the Chiefs are back in the playoffs and they still can't get to the Super Bowl. Them fans are the worst.
I think Josh Allen's going to finally get his guy this year. I think.
But the problem is getting his guy don't guarantee a Super Bowl.
No, it doesn't. But it puts the Bills in a. It puts this Josh Allen stuff to bed if he doesn't get a Super Bowl now.
Well, that's my point. That's my point of the whole thing. Like, I don't think he will because their defense isn't that good. Wasn't that good last year? So what's it going to like? It's an Eagles situation. What's saying it's going to be better this year? As of right now, we don't know.
No, we don't.
And they're basically built around tight ends out there, but they're trying to get around. They got Moore. They got the kid Moore from Chicago. But now Josh Sweat, I heard the Cardinals are going to make him available. I've seen that. he's available. And that, I wonder what they would want for him if the Eagles were to go after him. Because I heard the Bears are interested.
Tanner McKee and a high draft pick.
Tanner McKee and a high draft pick.
Tanner McKee and a second-round pick in 2027. Would you do it?
I don't know if they. Tanner McKee. Oh, and a second-round pick for Josh Sweat. Yeah. I'd do a third because I think they got a couple third-round picks next year.
Yeah. I do it for. I do McKee in a second for Josh Sweat. I would.
Yeah. I mean, you need a quarterback. Because Bakir Dalton's going to have to get. They said they'll both be here, but they drafted another quarterback. So, I think one of them two other guys are gone. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think
they're dressing 3 on game day.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Andy Dalton because I can't. Andy's going to learn. He's never played this system before, right?
Right.
So he's learning a whole new system.
But a
younger guy is better because if it pans out with McKee and didn't pan out with Hurts, they got their guy. See where I'm going? So they're not going to put their eggs in Andy Dalton's basket. Say Jalen whatever, and Andy goes out there and wins 8 games. They make the playoffs. They're not going to give him a $40 million contract. You know what I'm saying? Not going to go out and just go, oh, yeah, Andy's the savior.
No, not an 18-year veteran. No. All right, listen, Patrick, I'm going to cut you off, man.
All right, you have a good night, Matty. I'll see you Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes. I'll be back on Tuesday. All right, Patrick. Always good. Yeah, Patrick always bringing the thunder, man. Is Trump going to sign the peace deal with Iran? I guess. I hope he does. I think it wasn't the big sticking point right now is that Oman and Iran want to control the strait, and I wouldn't do that either. There's no way in hell they're going to control that. And who cares about the Eagles? We do. We do care about the Eagles. And again, Kaepernick's point is valid about the other teams in the NFC. But so is my point. This is a team that flamed out. This is a team that could not control its own destiny, deliver what this fan base so desperately wanted. And that was a dynasty. And they're returning the same players, and they're adding a little bit more difficulty to this mix by totally revamping the offense. And I don't think they're a lock to get to the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, as I went over their schedule, I think there's a pathway to 12 wins, but I also believe there's a pathway to 9 losses if things don't work out. And again, I don't know why I should be chastised for that. Reality tells me certain different things than fantasy does. So, but anyway, let's finally transition now to the Phillies. I've been waiting to do this all night. I do want to go over because we are at the very pinnacle point of the Don Mattingly, Rob Thompson transition. 28 games Don Mattingly has now managed the Phillies for. He has now managed the team to a 20-8 record. Brought them back from the abyss. Put them back in relevancy. Where they are now second place, 8.5 or so behind the Braves. Game and a half out of the wild card as we sit here in late May. And it's time to reflect back on Rob Thompson's 28 games that he had that led to his ousting earlier this season, where he guided the Phillies to a 9-19 record. So I want to go over a couple of stat areas, and I want to talk about them and find out why. I mean, I guess that's the question. Let's start with the errors. Very publicized problem with this team under Rob Thompson for the first 28 games. 19 errors this team committed in 28 games. In 28 games under Don Mattingly, they have committed 8. 8. So literally, they've cut that number in half. Why? Why have they figured out how to play defense versus the first 28 games? Is this a stat that lends the theory that they were done with Rob Thompson and were trying to get him the hell out of town? Is this a stat that lends to the theory that a lot of people have floated? I've heard this. That spring training was a joke. That Rob Thompson's spring training, the way he ran it, was a joke, and this team was not prepared defensively for coming north. I don't know any other reason but around that to point to some sort of unpreparedness or rebelling against the coach. You don't commit 19 errors in 28 games and then turn around and only commit 8 in the next 28 games. So this is a number that lends itself to the theory that the team was booting Rob Thompson out the door. Next stat we'll talk about is grounded into double plays. The Phillies only grounded into 9 double plays under Rob Thompson in 28 games. Only grounded into 9. So far in 28 games under Mattingly, they've doubled that. They've grounded into 18 double plays. Now, this is a little bit of an open-ended number here. They weren't hitting that well under Thompson, so hence they weren't getting on base to begin with. And when they were, they were probably not. It was just flaming out. They weren't able to create any other offense. Phillies have definitely picked up their hitting under Don Mattingly, and they have been able to put more people on base. But they are grounding into an unordinary amount of double plays over the past 28 games, 18 of them under Don Mattingly. So that's a number that has somewhat turned maybe in the favor of getting more runners on base versus not getting enough runners on base with Rob Thompson, but they're still not doing the job either way. Stolen bases. And a big point of concern with me or contention with me with Rob Thompson, especially early in the season, there just wasn't, and this was not just through the first 28 games of the year. This was going back to last season and the year before that. Rob Thompson was not ever aggressive on the base pads, ever with this team. He never unleashed them on the base pads, and he was extremely stingy in the first 28 games. Was he afraid they were going to run themselves out of an inning? I don't know what the reasoning around this was. I used to get so mad early in the year when he had situations where Crawford and Turner were on first and second, and he wouldn't put anybody in motion. No double steals, no nothing. So 14 stolen bases under Rob Thompson in 28 games. 26 stolen bases under Don Mattingly in 28 games. Obviously an uptick on the aggressiveness on the base pads, which you want to see, right? And this might lend to the styles, the two different styles of the managers. Now home runs. 30 home runs under Rob Thompson this team hit in 28 games. 30. The one thing offensively they were not struggling with, matter of fact, don't get me started on home runs. Under Mattingly, they've hit 39. So they've hit 9 more under Mattingly. 69 home runs this team has hit through 56 games. 69 home runs in 56 games. Obviously, the topic about this team and their reliability on the home run is a whole other show that we've done before and we'll do again. Not going to get into it tonight. But this is obviously more of a snapshot of what the offense is versus what the offense it was under Thompson or what it is under Mattingly. It's more of a snapshot of what this offense is. Completely reliant on the home run. I really wish those numbers go down. I just totally can't believe I'm saying that. I wish the numbers would go down with the home runs. Under Rob Thompson, Phillies pitching struck out 257 batters in 28 games. Under Don Mattingly, Phillies pitching has struck out 273. So they're about 20 more. What? 17 more, whatever, 16 more. So again, the pitching, even though it struggled early in the season, was still striking people out. This team has always been very good with striking out players, right? They've always had high numbers of strikeouts against and for, but I don't know if that number's sort of what that number is for me with this team, the way they strike people out. Under Rob Thompson, the Phillies walked 91 times. Under Don Mattingly, they've walked 78 times. Interesting. Under Rob Thompson, the Phillies pitchers walked 90 batters. Under Don Mattingly, Phillies pitching has only walked 62. So there's an obvious change there. And that walks were a problem early in this season. Control, command issues with the pitchers. Luzardo had a problem with it early on. Nola's had a problem with it all year. Painter had a problem with it. I don't know if this is indicative of just sort of the thing kind of just balancing out or being more, conducive to the weather change or just more and more reps. but almost 30 walk difference between Mattingly and Thompson. Phillies pitching has only walked 62 versus the 90 of a Rob Thompson. Hits. This is a really disturbing number for me. Under Rob Thompson, the Phillies banged out 208 hits. Under Don Mattingly, they banged out 218. They've only hit 10 more hits more under Thompson than they or under Mattingly than they did for Thompson. 10. It's terrible. That is a terrible offensive output on both cases. It's bad. RISP. There we go. RISP. They batted 221 under Rob Thompson, and they're batting 270 under Don Mattingly. I don't know how they're doing that, but they're batting significantly better with runners in scoring position under Don Mattingly than they did for Rob Thompson. I don't know how that's happening. I don't. Opponents' RISP. Teams were batting 272 against Phillies pitching under Rob Thompson. 211 under Don Mattingly. Phillies pitchers are doing a better job of keeping those runners on the bases. 211 versus 272. Left on base. Phillies left 210 runners on base under Rob Thompson. They've only left 166 runners on base under Don Mattingly. A significant drop-off. Significant. Runs. Phillies scored 102 runs under Rob Thompson for about 3.6 a game. They gave up 156 runs for 5.5 a game. Under Mattingly, they've scored 120 runs and they've given up 83. When they changed managers, their run differential was like 56. That run differential is down to like 17 right now. They're being outscored by 17 versus 56. So they bridged that gap in 28 games. That's utterly amazing. They're still only averaging about 4 runs a game under Mattingly. That's got to go up. Of course, that's indicative to the offensive situation. But a big-time turnaround in not only the runs that they've scored under Mattingly, but also the runs that they've allowed, 83. And, of course, the big numbers, 20 and 8 was Mattingly, and Rob Thompson, 9 and 19. So there you have it. There's the numbers for the two managers through 28 games. I think we can make a very intelligent hypothetical kind of summary on this. They're getting better pitching across the board in every statistical category. And as weird as it might sound, they're actually hitting better under Don Mattingly, which is still not to where it needs to be. So the question remains, did they quit on Thompson, or is Don Mattingly that much better than Thompson? And I don't know if these numbers answer that question anymore. But there's the 28-game look at between Thompson and Mattingly through 28 games each. And that, my friends, is going to take me to the end. We're going to save the of the night, and we're going to save the card for next week. We'll get to that next week, but we're going to wrap this show up. That means we're going to wrap up our broadcast week. Again, here's a snapshot of what's happening on the network for the rest of this week. Tomorrow, we got the Fightins Final back in town, along with the Philly Friday Frenzy twofer. Big Al, that probably won't happen at 9. That'll probably happen a little bit later, so make sure you're tuned in. This is your Fightins Final lineup for that Dodgers series that is coming. Al will have you Friday. I will come at you late Saturday, and Mike Laro getting the Sunday opportunity as he will present to you the Down on the Phillies Farm segment. Of course, I'm going to prepare it, and he'll just present it. But he's going to do the Fightins Final, the Down on the Phillies Farm segment for you this week, as I will not be in on Sunday. So there's your Fightins Final lineup. One other note I do want to pass on is that you may have heard this. Mike, I think, mentioned it yesterday. I'll put it out there now. The Gridiron Weekly and the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, two of our shows that we have had here for about a year. They were part of the Pittsburgh guys that we brought in. Well, those two shows are leaving the network. They will no longer be seen on the Interrap Sports Network. Their final week was this week. They are moving on to greener pastures, to another opportunity somewhere else. I'm not going to tell you that network. You have to go find them. I'm just not going to give out that free advertising, but they're moving on to another network. I wish them all the best. They've been nothing but class acts, good guys. We had a good conversation this week. They let me know what their plans were. I totally support them, and I'm totally behind them, and I wish them nothing but the very best. So the Gridiron Weekly and the Pittsburgh Sports Desk will not be seen on the It's a Wrap Sports Network anymore. Steel City Sunday and the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight program will remain here as John Phillips is staying with the network. So we are looking forward to another season of Pittsburgh Steeler postgame action here, pre and postgame, here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And at some point, the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight will return as well. So they're staying. Those other guys are going. So for those for Bill and those guys over there, again, I wish them all nothing but the best. And thank you for what you gave me in the year that you were here, just under a year. So I just want to make that announcement, put that out there. So yeah, did what I had to do. As far as this show goes, I will be back on Tuesday, I believe. Tuesday and Wednesday are our shows for next week. It's going to start a brutal week for me, and unfortunately, I am not going to be able to do 5 days next week. We'll get back there at some point, I promise. It's just the bad time of the year. But we got a couple things that we are going to introduce next week when we do return. I'm going to do a segment. A lot of other people are starting to do this. I'm going to do it starting next week, not only with the Of the Night segment. We're going to add another segment into this. God knows I don't have time for the stuff I have right now, but we are going to have another segment. I'm going to start I'm going to put out MattyB's top 32 quarterback list as I see it heading into the 2026 season for the NFL, not NFC, AFC, but the whole NFL. We were going to do number 32 tonight. It's going to actually post on our socials a little bit later. So I am going to let you in on what number 32 is. But we will continue this, and we'll work this list all the way up to number 1. But mine coming in at 32 on my list for the ranking the quarterbacks in the NFL. Drum roll, please. There we go. Aaron friggin' Rodgers is my 32nd ranked quarterback in the NFL this year. Rodgers coming back for his 22nd season, second with the Steelers. There's a glance at what his numbers were last year with the Steelers. Future Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. But this is just he's there on this list as a matter of a point here for me. Hang it up, dude. Nothing wrong with retiring, man. Nothing wrong with saying you can't do it at the level that you once used to be able to do it. And it's getting kind of stupid, if you ask me. And it's even stupider that the Steelers want to bring him back, but they are. So Aaron Rodgers is MattyB's 32nd ranked quarterback heading into the 2026 season, based purely on his inability and undesire to retire. So there you go. Next week we'll do 31 and 30. And we will work our way all the way up to number 1. Where does Jalen Hurts come out on my list? Where does Josh Allen come out on my list? And where does Pat Mahomes? And where do the rest of them come out on MattyB's list? You'll have to stay tuned and watch. So that's it tonight. Again, we'll do the other night segment and the card next week. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in for the 2 episodes we did do. I'll see you guys on the Fighting's Final Saturday night for you Night Owls, and then I'll be back here on the Final Word on Tuesday. Until then, you guys have a great rest of your Thursday, great Friday, and a great weekend. I'll see you.